I love you. Hola bienvenidos. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh, and we're back to Disney's animation with the wartime era.
Here we are. I am the Faceless Leon, your favorite Disney character, and the movie got shelved, and but I'm letting
Oh
you know,
man.
it could have happened. Could have, would have.
So it's somewhere in the vault,
Yeah, somewhere in the vault, on the dustiest shelf.
right underneath Disney's head.
Yeah, it was back. It was kind of a similar situation from this film, where the government approached them and wanted to do a certain thing. It was kind of like my coming out thing. They were gonna let the world know.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, but then they're like, nah, you know what? He's kind of scary. Let's not do this. So
Damn it, white men, man.
people judge. This is a podcast about movies and TV, and today we are doing a Disney playlist, as we said, but it's also kind of a sequel smash because
Yeah,
these movies are Saludos, Amigos.
they're a package deal.
It inspired the three Caballeros, so yeah, they kind of go together, and all in all, it makes a 2 hour and 22-minute film. So there you
Yeah,
go.
and the real reason was we watched Saludos Amigos, and I was like, hey man, I don't really remember that movie, and I don't think there's much to talk about, right? And you're like, yeah, let's go ahead and just pair it with Three Caballeros. And I was like, solid. And
Yeah.
it does make out for a good sequel smash.
It really does. Yeah, I think so. I think.
But I didn't really do any research on why these movies came about. All I
Okay.
did was just look up. So yeah, I was hoping you did, but because it's like all I did was look up the stories because
Sure.
I really do struggle to remember all the different
Right. Yeah.
stories in both movies.
I
Because they're both like Fantasia. They're both like Fantasia,
know. Yeah.
where it's a bunch of mini episodes make up a
Strung
movie.
up together. Yeah. And in particular, especially Saludos Amigos. Well, I guess both of them do this rather. But Saludos Amigos is just in particular South America. It is highlighting that culture. It's kind of like, did you ever watch Rick Steves, like the traveling show?
No, I did not.
Okay, so it kind of
Was
feels like a
this on
traveling
Nickelodeon?
show. No, it's not on Nickelodeon. It was on like PBS or something like that. It's like this. He's just this white guy that goes traveling around the world, and he's kind of got a really dry, even tone. It's just a travel documentary of him going, and he had a whole series, and for some reason it was really popular. And I say that I enjoyed them. It was kind of like it was kind of like his voice. It's kind of like a Zen thing, I guess. It's just very nice, easy.
Yeah.
You get to see these different things, but it's definitely through the lens of Rick Steves, while these movies are through the lens of Donald Duck.
Fucking love that name, Rick Steve.
I think that's it.
Yeah, my travel documentary when I was a kid was Steve Irwin. Like,
Oh,
my brother
yeah.
and I just watched
Yeah.
all of his stuff. We didn't watch anybody else really.
Yeah,
In regards to travel, we didn't.
yeah. Where Steve,
I guess
yeah,
nature is more.
yeah, Steve, focused more on the nature kind of thing. Which, I mean, you gotta travel to get to the good places, so I say it counts.
Nice.
Yeah, Rick Steve is more like what you could do if you go to this place as a tourist. And
Oh no.
it definitely, Saludos definitely feels like a tourist, is particularly an American tourist going through these areas.
Oh man, it's so bad at times.
It's sometimes it is. Particularly where, like, when Donald gets dressed up in the Inca Boys clothes, and the narrator says something to effect that the tourist is never satisfied until he gets to partake in the local costume, and I'm like, yeah, Jesus, yeah. That's so
Yeah, this is
true.
yeah.
Oh
Both of these
god.
movies, though, are open up with that racist card,
Yeah.
where it's just like there are some cultural
Yes.
negatives. I can't remember what.
Yeah, they're where they're saying, "Hey, we did this thing a long time ago, and we recognize it might have been insensitive." I personally was more insulted with Goofy as the
Oh gosh, yes, El Gaucho.
Gauchos. Thank you. Yeah, I think his was a little bit more appropriation than the other, especially because
Yeah,
it was a
definitely.
lot of making fun of what they do. I feel like.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But there are parts in here that I did enjoy. In
Should we
particular,
should we start with the first? Oh wait,
yeah,
no, go
I
ahead.
guess yeah, we could go in order.
No, no, no. You were gonna go lead into one.
Well, it is the second one. We kind of already talked about Lake Titicaca, I would say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
which
there's not really much there
yeah,
but that.
they go to Lake Titicaca, and it does
It's
open
just
up like
Donald being a tourist.
there is something to mention about these two movies is that they do the thing where they mix animation and live action. And the beginning of it is
Oh yeah.
just the Disney and RKO guys actually going to Lake
Yeah.
Titicaca and filming the actual people there.
Saludos Amigos' blend of live action and animation worked for me because it was boring and it was like, all right, yeah, I get this. What the Three Caballeros did freaked me the fuck out. I was not expecting it.
I wasn't either. I wasn't either. I guess we'll get to that. But yeah, I feel like that we kind of put that in a nutshell. It's literally Donald Duck being a tourist at Lake Titicaca.
Yeah,
That is the bit.
not much happens there.
Yeah. But Pedro, he's a little airplane, a mail plane. I kind of liked his story. I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
He has to go do the mail because his big Papa Strong mail plane can't do it, and his mom can't do it either because she's a female plane.
Yeah, I remember that.
That is not exactly word for word what happened, but they do introduce them as a strong male plane and a female plane. Like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
the joke is they're male planes, but why does she have to be a female?
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, they're like the fighter pilot or something like that. Like they have like better builds and everything, and she's like a biplane or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, she she is supposed to look dainty and incapable of getting the mail instead of their like I don't know like 5 or 6 year old son. But I did while I complain about this, there's some bits I really enjoyed, like where they're going along talking about how they train Pedro, and they're
Yeah,
showing
that
him at the
was.
school, and they're like, and he learns anatomy, and they show a skeleton of an airplane. Oh, that got me pretty good.
Right. I do remember that. I'll be honest. In proper green and faceless fashion, we watched this like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and so most of it is out of my mind. I should have like rewatched that one in particular because my notes say compelling tale, educational though endearing and well done, and that's all I wrote for this.
well,
So it's like I remember I did like it after I watched it.
yeah,
I just don't remember much about it. I do remember the skeleton joke when you brought that back up.
yeah, that was pretty
Uh,
good.
and I remember him struggling. I remember him struggling against the storm at the end when he's trying to deliver the mail. And I
Right.
remember that was where the compelling part came in because, you do like this character because he is cute and he's fighting against this storm to accomplish his goal. And you're like, oh, come on, you could do it. It's like,
Yeah.
you could be the train that could.
So, I don't have the name of the mountain here, but there's this big scary mountain that he was warned not to fly close to, and he does. And I do feel like the depiction on the mountain might be construed as unfavorable depiction of native peoples, but I don't know. Like I just wanted to put that out there before I said that I actually liked how angular and sharp the features were on the mountain's face, because
Yeah.
it did make it look rather intimidating, and also it's a rock formation, so But it, you
Yeah.
know, I wanted to say that I don't know if there's any controversy behind it. So if there is, sorry for liking
Yeah.
it. Anyways, uh, yeah, he drives a little too close to the mountain, and then uh, he finally gets the mail, and on his way back, he gets caught up in a storm, like you said, and then they play it like he didn't make it. They play it like he's dead.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm
It,
like,
it
oh
scared
my
the crap out
god,
of
yeah.
me.
I was like, oh, is this our first like hero death in Disney? And eventually he does. He does come. He does come back.
Yeah.
He delivered the mail, and it was one postcard.
This is strictly coming from Wikipedia, so it's like this is not no incredible research here. But I did read that somebody wasn't, and I can't remember who, but somebody of the culture where Pedro's from wasn't in love with the character because he thought it misrepresented the culture. So he created his own character, who I don't remember the name of because I'm garbage at this. But that character, I guess, is a very beloved character in that culture now.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
it inspired a cultural icon.
There you go. There you go. The culture is Chile. Is yeah. It's
Thank you.
over the mountains in Chile because that's all Chile is really. I mean, obviously there's culture and people there.
I do want to say that God, I keep saying irregardless. I still don't think that's a word. Regardless of my lack of knowledge, about this area, that and my, how this, I found both these movies quite boring.
Sure.
And regardless of that fact, one thing I think both of them accomplished was that I'm interested in learning more about Latin America, and
Yeah.
because it's another area of the world and history that I just haven't. I maybe blame my education being raised up in a small Indiana town, but there was little talk about other cultures and
Yeah.
other areas of geography. We went over it. We definitely went over it, but it was like hit and done. We're moving on to the next area.
And it's like they're our neighbors. We should know.
Yeah, and like watch. I think one thing was like watch this movie of Shay.
Though Shay is a good movie. I like that
Yeah,
movie.
it is. That's basically the extent of my covering of anywhere below United States from school was brief mentions of other cultures. Watch Shay. That was it. And so I am happy that both these movies made me interested in looking
Right.
deeper into those cultures again.
Right. Even if they aren't like necessarily accurate depictions, like it does draw your interest to the cultures because some of the depictions of the people themselves are questionable, but the culture as a whole, I feel like this movie is really trying to put them in a positive light. And the reason being is because if I'm correct, this came out before we were involved in World War II.
It came out in 1942.
So, U.S. government, they came to Disney, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to do a goodwill tour of South America," which is pretty much what this movie is. That's this movie in a nutshell. Basically, it was to give some positive propaganda for America to South America because there were Latin American governments that were in good relations with Nazi Germany. So it was before we even were committing troops. Our government was trying to do stuff to slow Hitler down because he was gobbling up Europe like a machine. So
Yeah.
this is the reason why this movie came about, which I think, knowing that that's the history of it, is very interesting. And we might not even have any Latin American film from Disney, especially from this era, if that wasn't the case. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Nice bit of history right there.
Yeah.
I wonder how much like Walt Disney was involved in. Because I feel like they were pretty popular at this time, but like
Yeah.
I
But it
wonder
was
how
still pretty
how
young.
much sway they had.
The company I feel like is less than 10 years old. No. He's been doing little stuff up to this point for quite some time, hasn't he? Yeah, I feel like they're just now starting to become a money making machine. Like up to this point they were popular, but they weren't Disney yet. And if the government comes to you to make a movie, I think you're probably pretty big.
That's fair.
Though maybe not.
Yes.
Maybe nowadays the government wants to keep it low key, so they go to cheaper filmmakers.
Yeah.
But back then, their options were probably slimmer.
Well, I mean, as you said, it feels like propaganda.
Yeah,
it's a propaganda piece.
Yeah.
So it's, I feel like Disney's, especially their shorts, have already established them as pretty strong at doing that kind of stuff. Right. Making something that can be used as a statement, that is. So, I feel like maybe that's what the government saw. Maybe they just saw their shorts and were like, yeah, these guys can make a propaganda piece for us, Yeah. So they just enlisted him. Sorry for all those like super hard fact-based lovers of podcasts. I don't play that game. I'm not the greatest researcher of things.
Yeah, we this is our opinions mostly, and we're gonna try to throw in a little bit of fact and hope that we're right. And if we're wrong, I guess you could tell us, and we'll say, okay, thanks.
Yeah, correct us politely in the comments.
Yes. You're welcome to do that. We would love that. So El Gaucho Goofy.
Yeah.
His depiction I didn't think was so great. But first off, like, he's not playing a native character. He is playing the American Goofy, but he comes down to Argentina and then like becomes a gaucho.
Yeah. Wasn't he like a cowboy or something?
Yeah, he was an American cowboy. Yeah.
And then he comes. Yeah. Because I remember he was smoking. I remember that. He had a cigarette. Yeah. Oh, so scandalous.
Oh,
I remember I remember when he came on screen and I was like, "You serious?" I was like, "Disney had a Goofy smoking? That's fucking hilarious!"
Hey, man, it was the 40s.
That is true. Yeah, that's the one thing I have to remember.
There was no real stigma against cigarettes, which
I just kind of assumed they would have edited it out.
Yeah, I feel like it's important.
But I guess they are. Yeah.
Yeah. It was important for our culture to be like, "Hey guys, you shouldn't smoke cigarettes." But I don't think that like we should villainize those who do. Like, I don't think like it's.
No.
I get the idea of, hey, if kids see Goofy smoking, they're gonna think it's cool to smoke. But I don't know if I necessarily buy that though either. At the same time, like,
but it is cool.
It is cool, and it feels great, and it makes your lungs feel fuller.
Yeah, you look like a baller, man.
Yeah, you do. Go smoke, kids.
There's the green and face with a statement right there. If we had video, we would put like a big red stamp on the screen. It's just like, go smoke. Green and faceless approved. In reality, don't. It's just a joke, people.
Yeah. If you do smoke cigarettes, we don't hold that against you. But you are slowly killing yourself. Anyhow, yeah, they do talk about the differences. They kind of take this one as an essay between the differences of the American cowboy and the gaucho, and that I kind of felt was interesting. And probably once again, it was the 40s. Westerns were everywhere. America loved that shit. So that probably helped draw the American audience.
Sean Wayne.
Yeah, exactly. And any Mahuowitz, I do feel like I learned some interesting things that I probably otherwise wouldn't.
I sadly forget most of it.
The one thing I remember is that they talked about how they eat their food out on the range. They take the bread and the meat in one hand, and they cut back and forth as they're biting it with their knife. And the bit was that Goofy does it so fast that he accidentally eats his knife.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Like, that was a cool scene, I thought.
Yeah.
I do remember Two things I do remember that I enjoyed was there was a ostrich hunt scene.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
remember much about it. I just remembered I was laughing nonstop.
yeah,
But I also liked how Goofy interacts with the transitions because he's always
yeah,
like moving the transitions with him or something. Like I
yeah.
can't remember all of it, but
There's
like
this,
you like reach in and pull something down.
yeah. There's this one where the transition comes and hits him, and he's like, "Oh," and goes off with it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh
That
shit.
there's like some great classic cartoon bits in it,
Yeah.
obviously. But like I keep on saying, I'm not sure that the having Goofy be a gaucho was the right idea. Though,
No.
if they would have drawn up and painted one of the natives, that could have been bad too. So you
Yeah.
just don't know.
I did. I did find Goofy to be a better comedic character than Donald.
Yeah,
I think at this
in
time
this one.
Donald was more liked because they used him twice. Like in the next little short, Donald comes back, but I felt Goofy was just funnier. Like he's better at reacting to the
Right,
comedy.
right.
Because like when comedy happens to him, it's funny how he acts. Whereas it's just funny that things happen to Donald,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Donald is like, I love hating that guy, and just like other Donalds I know.
Yeah, I think there's a good Donald we could all love to hate.
Well, Aquarela do Brazil.
Da Brasil. Do
I don't
Brasil.
know how to pronounce Portuguese at all, so I'm sorry. I know
No.
I butchered that. But we get to meet the wonderful parrot Jose Carioca.
Karaoke.
Carioca. And he's from Rio de Janeiro, and he meets Donald, and they become fast friends, and then he shows him about the town. I kind of discussed all of these. I just realized. I don't know. I didn't let you synopsize
That's
anything.
totally fine. No, that's awesome because I don't remember them. That's the problem with both of these films we're going to talk about is I watched all of them. I kept my eyes on the screen the whole time. I made sure of it, but I just did not retain anything. All I retained was like I did retain the interest in learning about the cultures, and that was about it. I found all the stories just oddly not
Bad.
connecting. It's
Yeah.
propaganda, as you
Yeah.
said. It's a propaganda piece, and I don't. Those don't just interest me at all.
No, no, not really. And like I
if they,
said earlier, it does kind of feel like a travel video too. So for the reason that it
yeah,
felt like a travel video, it's definitely more entertaining than your average travel video.
yeah. If I had gone into it with that attitude, I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah,
But expecting a Disney like a movie,
right.
I don't know why I expected a movie. Because again, it's just an anthology piece. But I didn't look anything up about this before watching it. I just popped it on to Disney Plus and just went with it. And not knowing what to expect, I was just kind of bored.
That's
So I
fair.
forgot a lot of it.
That is 100%
I
fair.
do remember I'm going to give it my attempt now, Aquarela do Brasil. But I do remember one thing I liked about that little animation was the paintbrush drawing
Yeah,
the scenes
that was
into
cool.
reality. That was really awesome touch.
Yeah,
Because it's just Jose and Donald just walking and singing as Jose is explaining to him the wonders and everything that he's talking about. The paintbrush is just bringing it to life around them, and it's really fucking cool.
yeah. In fact, it brings Jose to life, and he's really cool. He's like, if you guys haven't seen a depiction of Jose Carioca, he has this flat yellow hat and a tails. I think that it's yellow though. That his jacket, though I kind of imagine it has
Yeah.
tails, but maybe it doesn't. But he's wearing a yellow suit, and he has an umbrella that he uses as a cane and a flute sometimes too, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very fashionable.
yeah, and he comes up, they paint him, and he's speaking entirely in Portuguese, and Donald's like, And he's like got all these different like English to Portuguese translation books, and he's trying to figure out how to say it. And then suddenly he's like, "Come on, Donald, let's go. I'll show you around the town." And he's like, "Oh, thank God." Perfect American reaction.
Right. I do love that Donald being the tourist
He was a
joke
good
throughout
choice.
both of his skits. Yeah.
He does
Yeah,
have
because
like,
I mean, because you can't understand what he's saying either, so
Yeah.
it's just like no matter like.
that's so true. Yeah, and he
remember,
also
remember in college when we were trying to like
yeah,
master the
we're
Donald Duck
trying
voice?
to do it, and we cannot get anywhere close.
You got
The only
you
thing
could at least get close to a voice.
yeah, I can do one thing really well, and that's Donald getting angry. And that's the only thing I can do.
Oh, shit. Yeah, the voice actor, I feel bad I don't have his name written down, but Donald Duck's voice actor, all of them are impressive.
Yeah, I mean, how can you do this? Donald Duck is Clarence Nash. Clarence Nash.
Thank you. I know from a voice actor standpoint, voice actors might be like, no, it's pretty easy to do Donald Duck voice, but it's for the people who do, because there's many people who can do it, and for the people who do it, that's impressive to me. Like, we tried so hard in college. We looked up videos on it.
Sure did. You gotta like warp your freaking mouth. Anyhow, Jose was cool. They played one of my favorite songs. I listened to the Jeff Potter. Man, that might not be right. But Brazil. I listened to an English translation of it all the time because it's just a freaking beautiful song. Really, it's my favorite takeaway of this that it's in here.
Yeah.
And it is a song that is traditional during festival time. The style that is. And this is like Brazil's like all-time favorite song too. That's what it kind of was accounting to in the story. I suppose that could change since 1942, but anyways, I love the song. What about you? This last bit had the best music for sure, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really have much more about it because that's really all I remember was the singing. I remember the music. I remember the paintbrush. And I remember Jose,
right,
and Donald's tourism bits, but yeah, you summed it up. It was overall, if you look at the whole of Saludos Amigos, I gave it 2 stars.
That's
because it's very educational in a propaganda way. It's got a lot of good going for it in regards to making you interested in going to learn it more yourself.
Right.
Because it's kind of just giving you the ABCs, the white American ABCs of Latin America. But it's good animation. It is entertaining, but it's also forgettable. And in the whole of Disney films, I feel like a 2-star rating is it's just kind of smack dab in the middle. It's competent.
Yeah, I'm really torn on whether to give it a full face or not, because I'm not sure that I necessarily would recommend it. So I think for that reason, I'll say it's a half a face. I did enjoy watching it. If you want to do what we're doing and watch all the Disney movies, then of course watch it, and there's some enjoyable things. But also, this may be an argument either way to watch it or not. It's only an hour and 10 minutes long. It doesn't really have a plot, a through plot anyways. So for that reason, I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it, but it's not bad.
I thought it was actually shorter than that. I thought the Disney Plus version was only like 50 minutes.
Maybe I'm thinking of the 3 Caballeros, but
yeah, that one's a little longer. I don't remember the run times, honestly.
I actually, you talked about that we watched these a couple weeks back, and that is true. I did, but because I forgot, I rewatched both of them this morning.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it only takes 2 hours to watch both of these.
Yeah.
As a stepping stone for films actually based in Latin America, that it took way too long for Disney to start branching out into that cultural, those stories there. They're just starting to go there. But this is kind of a stepping stone. It was one of the first. Let's look into this. Let's look into Latin America and the stories that we can find there. And
Right.
again, it took a sad 80 years or 70 years, I guess, to start looking at it. But we're finally there. We're finally exploring more stories through Disney,
Yeah, and I
which is
do hope
exciting.
it continues, and I hopes that it keeps on becoming more and more positive. Like, there's definitely things that weren't so great that even came out during our lifetime,
Oh
but
yeah. Oof.
they are getting better. I think they're
Hmm.
making an effort to be better and have positive depictions of people of other cultures, and I think that we should encourage that.
I agree. Yeah, and those interest me more because it's an actual story.
Yeah.
There's a character to focus on, and there's a full focal point. But I guess we'll get to those in about 2 years on this playlist.
Right. Well,
And should we move on to Three
yeah, I think
Caballeros?
we should. I think we should.
So here's my experience with the Three
Okay.
Caballeros. Uh, here's even my notes. My notes start with, "Man, Donald Duck is a weird character, isn't he?" That's basically it.
Uh huh.
And then there's like a few more notes about physical absurdities, about specifically about the penguins. I like the penguins.
Yeah, the penguins are fun.
The first animation is called Colt. Or okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself. The Three Caballeros is about basically it's Donald Duck's birthday,
Yeah.
right? So he gets three presents, and the first one is a film projector, and he plays the film projector, and it has I think three mini shorts on stored in the film.
I think it's just two because
Just two.
yeah, because by Baea is when Jose shows up.
That's right. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, you're right. I remember now. So there's two. The first one is Cold Blooded Penguin, which is narrated by Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
I think. Oh man, I'm always forgetting that guy's name. Sterling
Uh
Holloway.
yeah, you got it right here. Let's see. Sterling Holloway, you got it right.
Hell
As
yeah.
Professor
Hell yeah. I love
Holloway.
it. Yes. And anything narrated by him, I'm in love with. Winnie the Pooh is one of my favorite things Disney has ever created.
Yeah.
And I love listening to him talk, and here he's talking about a penguin that, if I'm remembering correctly, is tired of the cold atmosphere and wants to move north, and so he builds like a little raft, and I can't remember where on South America. I know he goes up the west coast of South America. I just don't remember where he ends up at.
He ends up at the
Uh,
Galapagos.
Thank you. Yeah, and his little ice raft melts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cute little story, but I don't remember much about the penguin himself or herself,
Right.
and so it's just the only thing I remember was the narration of that.
I'm not so sure why it was included. Like, I know that, like you said, he goes up the coast of Chile. I think maybe the other side. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think the only reason why, because once again, this movie is focusing on Latin America. It does.
Mm.
There's a big touch on Mexico in this movie too, but which the other one did not have. Anywho, this one, I feel like the only reason why they included it was to show how close South America really is to Antarctica. I think that's the only reason.
Right. Yeah, there's not much in regards to Latin America, in regards to educating about Latin
Yeah,
America culture or anything in this little skit.
but it's fun.
Uh, but in the next one, there's a little bit in the next one, which
Right.
is the Flying Gauchito.
Yep.
And sadly, again, the only thing I remember about this is I think a little boy finds a donkey with wings,
Yes.
and he names it Burrito,
Yeah.
which is Spanish for little donkey.
Yeah.
So,
Which,
it makes
how did
sense. It's a
that
good
end
name.
up being my favorite food? Like, I mean, where
I
is the history
know.
there? Like,
I know. I remember in my Spanish class, we asked my Spanish teacher that, and he told me the story, but I just don't. Sadly, I don't remember it. I wasn't a good listener when it comes to
yeah.
the class atmosphere.
I have a little story in my head that I just imagined. where like
Give it to me.
Because the burrito is folded the way it is, it kind of looks like maybe a wrapped up pack that you would put on a donkey.
Ooh.
Like maybe.
Or maybe the first versions of it had little legs and little ears on the burrito itself.
That's right, and was made with donkey meat.
Ooh, yeah, and they just made it look like a little donkey, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, it's a little donkey. And what's in it? Donkey. A little bit of donkey.
A little bit of donkey.
I hope
that might be bad.
Offensive. Yeah, I hope that's not.
I'm so sorry. We're apologizing up front and immediately. We're so sorry. But sorry, no, that's all I remember. That's all I remember about the Flying Gauchito. I can't remember much about that animated skit.
An expose of different birds that the same narrator was talking about, and that's about it. There was one bird that they talked about that I can't remember what the bird was called, but he was pretty annoying, but he had like a running bit throughout the whole movie where he would come in and like dance around and sing his song. That was really just something. I can't remember how it goes. But I remember being like, okay, that's funny, but I hope it stops soon.
But yeah, after that, the film reel ends. You know, I can't remember who gave him the film reel. It was a friend from Latin America that Donald must have, met on his tourist trips in Saludos Amigos, I guess.
That's right.
And
direct sequel. It's a direct sequel.
Yeah, and then how did you pronounce it? It was Baella?
I think it is Baella.
Baella. Yeah, Baella happens, and I don't remember how it starts. I don't remember the gift that Donald opens. All I remember is this was the moment where I felt like I had dropped acid. And because shit got weird. All I have written down is Baella, where shit gets weird. That's all I wrote down for this. And so, like, I wasn't on anything watching this. I want to be very clear up front about that. No cop should be coming to break down my door. I might have had a couple beers. That was it. And like, it literally felt like I had dropped acid because I don't want to spoil what happens yet because I want to work up to it. But I want you to work it up to it because I don't remember what starts it all.
Sure. So, goes and opens the other present because it was glowing, which was also weird. But he opens it and it's a book and it opens up and it's a pop-up book and the pop-up is this little town and Jose jumps out of the book. And that's how Jose is introduced into this.
That's right.
This story.
That's right. He has technology or something to like shrink them and enlarge them, right?
He does it just by blowing on his finger.
Oh, he has magic.
Yeah, it's got some kind of magic. But shit. I think that actually happens at the end of it when they go to open his last present. But at this point, they go back into the book, and they go to Baella, which is a town in Brazil, I would presume, because that's where Jose's from.
And as was established with the last movie, whenever Jose's around, good music ensues. I do remember that I enjoyed the music whenever Jose was around. But the shit that got weird was when they go into the pop-up book, the people they meet are live action. And I wasn't expecting that, man. It scared the fuck out of me. Like, I was like, wow, this is really fun.
Yeah, they did the opposite as in Saludos. In Saludos, it starts off live action. They're like, and this is what they did. And then they show the cartoon. It's like very presentational as in like in Fantasia was. Where this one, the cartoons just bump into real people.
Oh my god. And then Donald just starts like weirdly hitting on one of them. Like he becomes obsessed with one of the singers.
Yeah, she's selling cookies and singing a song, and he's like, or whatever. See, I can't do Donald Duck.
Yeah, the heart coming out.
Yeah, the heart.
That might not have actually happened, but did it actually happen? I can't remember.
I feel like I remember seeing it now that you said it, but it might just because it's a classic cartoon thing. The singer is, I don't want to mispronounce her name, but I will. Aurora Miranda. Maybe I didn't. Anyhow, she does have a beautiful singing voice, and she
Oh
is
yeah.
a very beautiful woman. But Donald throughout this film is just hounding after women. It
Yeah.
is ridiculous. And
It's
it's like, oh
weird.
God. I mean, like, the social norms were completely different back then, but still,
Yeah.
like,
I don't know. I feel
geez,
like
do you
even back
really
then they
want
would
your
have been like,
kids, like, I don't know.
yeah.
Does it
That's all I'm
say,
thinking. I'm thinking back then, like parents would be like, I don't want my kid to be thinking this is okay. It's like I don't want him to like see a duck and get turned on. It's like with that. It's like with I think it was Fantasia where it had the centaur women
yeah,
where they were bathing and then the
yeah,
centaurettes, right?
there's
And
Centaurettes,
they
yes.
yeah, and they came out of the water, and it's like ooh, naked women bathing, and then they come out, and it's like, oh, naked centaur women bathing, and it's
Yeah,
just like,
geez, yeah.
what are you trying to fetishize in our kids here, Disney?
Yeah, I don't know. He definitely wants to see his cartoons get with some ladies, apparently. Um,
And real live action ladies at that,
yeah,
not
real
just
life
not
action.
just animated ladies.
This must be pre-Daisy. And these are in
Oh shit!
Donald's wild days. You know,
Yeah,
the
he's only
one thing that this movie did make me realize is that he is a cartoon sailor,
yeah,
and
and he's only
and
I think he's only like 10 years old because I think this is like his 10-year anniversary.
well, that must be why it was his birthday.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, there you go. Yeah, he's a sailor, which at the time sailors had quite a reputation. So
Hmm.
maybe that was the joke they were playing with, but right from our experience throughout our life with Donald Duck, it seems really strange.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there thinking like Kingdom Hearts, and I'm just like, man, what was he thinking with like all the human characters he's like, was he attracted to any of them? Because like, could they have explored any kind of romantic story there? Like,
Right. Yeah, like him and the Square Enix characters though.
yeah, like it's like if they've
Him
already
and Yuffie.
established it, I'm not gonna mock them. In the game, it's an animated world, so like if they want to
Right.
explore a Donald Duck Square Enix
Sure.
character relationship, by all means.
So, though that's I mean that
From
is pretty much what happened in Bahia.
and from there, where we go into Las Posadas.
Everything's in Spanish. What happened? Went from
I
Portuguese to
don't,
Spanish.
and I don't remember this one. This is after Baella. Even though
Yeah.
I was still watching, again, I did not pull out my phone. I did not read a book. I watched this whole thing. After Baella, I remember nothing. All I
That
have written down, that's when I started drinking more too, was because of the live action shit. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna start drinking more. So that definitely went into play here.
sure.
But all I have written down after that was Jesus birth reenactment. That's it. That's all I had.
Oh my god, I don't remember that at all. I blanked that out. Oh yes, I do remember. I do remember. And
I
it
was
was actually really
gonna.
cute, but like it
Okay.
wasn't fully animated. It was done like storybook style where it explained they introduce the new character, and why can I not remember his name? He's the Panchito, and he's a
Hmm.
rooster. He's a Mexican rooster, and they introduce him, and they're chumming around, and then he tells the story of how in Mexico the 9 days leading up to Christmas, it's tradition for the children to go around carrying this little depiction of like the nativity scene, I think,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be the story of Mary and Joseph getting refused shelter, and then
That's
eventually a house
right.
is like, you can come in, there's room for you here, and then they have a big
Yeah.
party. I think that is an awesome tradition. I mean,
Yeah.
like we're not Christian. We've said this on several times. I
Mm-hmm.
was raised Christian, and
I was too.
that's a lovely little tradition, I think.
Yeah.
And it, it teaches charity too.
Yeah, it's more like, okay, sorry to all of our Christian fans. It's more endearing than what Christmas is, because
Right.
Christmas has
At
just
least,
become a season of just buying and
yeah,
shopping and gifting and like, again,
yeah,
I work at an area where we deal with money, and when we have to give people money, they're like, around the Christmas time, they're like, give me the crispest bills you have, and it's like, all right, if you're not gonna actually give somebody a gift, why does it matter what the bill looks like? They're gonna use money no matter what. It's just money.
that's true. It's legal tender.
So it's and yeah, and so it's like it is nice to see other Christmas traditions that I hope they're still maybe in use, or
Yeah, I
still
hope
being
so
honored
too,
somewhere
because
in the world.
that's cute, and the depictions of the children were really cute too.
No, it gives a good moral story. It's
Yeah,
like, as you said, it's charity, and so it's just nice. And if Christmas could go back to being that, to being what it's meant to be, what it's supposed to
sure.
be about, that would be nice. But America's society and capitalism has just
Yeah,
grabbed that and choked it to
I'm
death.
I'm with you on that. And I do love buying people presents though. Watching kids
Yeah, I
open
do too.
presents, like I got a bunch of nephews and a niece, and it's really cute to watch
Yeah.
their faceless smiles.
Gift giving itself is still enjoyable. I just feel
Yeah,
like shopping has choked the enjoyment of it out. There's so
I'm
much
with you,
greed
and
around the holiday, and it's
and I feel like I sound like an old man, but it just happens so much earlier every year.
damn. We're just old man. We hate everything. Why they always gotta start playing the Christmas songs on November 1st? It's bullshit.
Bullshit. It ain't even been Thanksgiving yet. Not in this country.
Halloween ain't dead, damn it.
So that portion of the show ends with them messing around with Donald trying to get him to hit a pinata. And it was funny, but I don't know if it needed to happen. He hits the pinata, and I think that's how we transitioned into the next one. I'm not really sure. But the next one, Mexico, Pátzcuaro, Veracruz, and Acapulco. That's the title.
And that's all I had written down.
They
I
once
feel
again
bad.
go to a town and they're dancing. They take their flying serape, which I thought that was weird. I feel like that's kind of mixing cultures. I don't know if there's anything about serapes being able to fly in uh, Mexican folklore, but whatever. I don't think there is.
But
And
but we're interested in learning about it now.
yeah,
And
so that's yeah. Uh, and anyhow, they take it to Mexico and listen and learn about some Mexican songs and dances. And once again, Donald got to
Oh,
get them ladies. And
Jesus, man.
yeah, but he does dance, and it's pretty funny. And then Jose
Doesn't he?
and Panchito pull him away.
I was gonna say, doesn't he kiss? Does he kiss Jose, or does he kiss Panchito? I
I
feel
think
like he
that's
kissed
in the
one of
next
them on
part.
accident.
I think that's in the
Oh,
next part.
damn it! I just like, okay. They all of them are like basically the same in my mind, because they're all just him hitting on women, live action women, and like I don't remember anything but the singing. I remember
Yeah.
constant song, and I remember him just like constantly being horny, and that's it. And I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel real bad that that's all I remembered from it.
Yeah, well, see though, the reason why that's all you remember is because it just keeps on going, because they pull him away from the dance floor, and then all of a sudden they're at a beach. Same section of the show. All of a sudden they're at Mexico Beach. He goes down there and starts chasing the bathing suit women back and forth. That's another thing I did want to talk about the film, is that the women on the beach, they like, I don't think they were being portrayed by white people, but they were definitely the palest Mexicans, like just as a whole. There was
Yeah.
not that much color. Like every single person was pretty freaking pale. And I think that was probably some racist choices of the era, which
Yeah,
stinks.
probably Disney not wanting to hire
Yeah.
minorities.
I think that kind of happened in both movies. Like at the very beginning of Saludos, when they're at Lake Titicaca, like they looked, you know, they did not look like white people, but the rest of the people in the film did. And I feel like there's more not people. There are more people who are
Yeah.
not that pale there than there are pale people. So I don't think this was necessarily a fair representation of a day at the beach. But
Yeah.
I don't know what
Probably
the
not.
history was or the social norms were either.
Yeah.
So
I
I could be talking out my ass.
If I were to make a wager, it was just again, it's just that propaganda, just like trying to
Yeah.
appeal to the white man.
Well, anyhow, they pull Donald out of the beach, and that's when he kisses one of the two of them. I can't remember. I think it was Jose.
Yeah,
And
I think it was Jose,
then
and I think Jose liked it.
Jose may have liked it.
I wish they had pursued that relationship.
Yeah, that would
'Cause
have
I
been
like Jose.
interesting. But I think they did kind of show him swooning over a woman as well, just not to the. They keep on calling him a wolf. In fact, one time they call him a wolf in duck's clothing. That's what they
Oh
call
my
him.
gosh.
So the last bit. That's what brings us into the last bit because love is a drug. That's I don't know if somebody says that but that's kind of the sentiment they're trying to get across. Do you want to explain what happens in this last bit?
I don't remember it. I don't have anything written down yet. I didn't even write down the name of it. My notes end with Acapulco, and
Yeah.
then I have a summary of the overall, and that's I don't know what happened. I was drunk. I feel like I was drunk. I don't remember how much I drank after the live action occurred.
So the section is called "You Belong to My Heart" and Donald's Surreal Revelry, maybe reverie. I don't know, but either way,
Beautiful.
surreal is the key word here. It was some weird shit. Like if you could just look up this part, I would recommend doing that. Just looking up this because it is something else. And
I'll have to.
it is so weird. Like I said, I watched it today and I still don't know what the hell happened. So I think we talked about that film.
Yeah.
I'll give a closing statement if you're good.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
I liked this one better than the other one, even with Donald being a horn boy. So like there was more of a through plot. Man, I still don't know if I'd give it. Yeah, I'd say give it a full face. It is definitely a cartoon of the era. That I laughed more at it, and I do like Jose and Panchito, and in fact, there is a sequel to this called The Legend of the Three Caballeros that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested in seeing how they handle these characters now.
Hopefully with respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give it 2 stars again. The through plot and being, having more of a tale to tell, Donald's birthday and the gifts he got and, exploring those gifts and the meanings behind them. That definitely made me more interested and I wanted to give it more. But the live action really fucked with me. And if I had known going in, it would have been fine. If I did, totally would have been okay. But I was not okay with it. I was like, this is so weird. And Donald hitting on all the women was just like, no, this is like... Again, it doesn't ruin my childhood, but it's just like, oh
Right.
man, this character is
So
much
weird.
different than what I expect, what I know of him now.
I mean, he does get a lot of kissy face from Daisy, but I still did not recognize Donald as a highly sexual being as a child.
I know.
Yeah.
And all my notes say after all the stories is I thought I dripped acid. Donald lusting after real women, yuck. And I fell asleep I think halfway through. But I didn't. I did not, but I thought I had because I just don't remember the last part of this, but I do remember I remember just the blanket statement of Donald lusting. And that's all I remembered for the back half of this movie, and it was so weird, and that's why I couldn't give it a higher rating than 2.
Yeah.
But it is definitely more interesting than the first one, than Saludos Amigos.
So I think from what you're saying, the Three Caballeros wins the sequel smash part of this playlist episode.
It
So
does.
yeah, I guess that's our show. I mean,
We'll be back next Monday with Make Mine Music. Or Make Music Mine. Mine Music Make. Music Make Mine.
make me my music.
I'm the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
Oh, yep, he sure is. I am the Faceless Leon. I'm filled with potatoes, just like you.
Holy shit.
Safe travels.
No. You don't get to end it on that. Last episode, you fried up and served our potatoes like French fries and curly cues. And now, that might not be last episode. That was episodes ago back in January. I'm weird time in editing, people. I'm so sorry. But now you're eating our potatoes.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Well,
do you want us to have fans?
hey, if they're just going to be sitting there fried up, you might as well be filled with potatoes.
This is why the government wanted to keep you a secret.
You're right. This is the part that they're talking about me being scary.
You're one to eat humanity. I see your game.
They
I
look
see your
like
game.
potatoes. What am I supposed to do?
I'm just trying to blend in and live my life, and you're trying to eat them all.
Hey.
Oh God, are we going to war?
Oh no. Well, with that, safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you want to learn more information about us, check us out on Facebook. You can also check out the Facebook and Instagram accounts of Fiction Works 19. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, or subscribe wherever you catch the show. Thank you all very much for listening.